So a couple of weeks ago, I was up in Colorado enjoying this motorcycle and ran into a little problem. So I was trying to put something on the rear seat. I think it was my like underliner on my jacket, you know, sort of thermal liner, and it was getting warm, so I was pulling it off. And the rock straps I have tucked away in my tank bag here, the rock straps, I tried to tie it off of the back of the passenger peg, but that's like sort of too much of a stretch, and it sort of got in the way. And then there's nowhere on the back to really tie off. You think you could tie off the handle, but it tapers as it goes, so it just encourages the strap to move. And there's no barb underneath. You know, if they just molded a little bump underneath here, then conceivably a strap would stop up against that. But this is smooth underneath too, so there's nowhere to tie off on the back. You could kind of come off the turn signals, but that's cheesy, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do on the back here. Maybe, you know, locate something else. I'll figure that out in a bit. But for the front, I was talking to my good close buddy Jeff Bezos, and he happens to sell these things, which are swing arm bobbins for swing arm stands, for like a race stand on a traditional two-sided swing arm. That would go in here, and the stand engages that. Same thread pitch as this. So I'm going to just swap these out. That gives me an anchor point in the front. But I thought I'd reach out to you guys and see if you've come up with an idea for an anchor point in the back. I'm not interested in a top case. I think they look stupid. They're aerodynamically poor, and putting weight behind your rear axle is always a bad idea anyway. So I tend to run with a waterproof bag, you know, strapped down on the back of my passenger seat. So anyway, but that's the solution for a front anchor point. I like this one because it has sort of a separate bobbin section and washer section. It's got the little O-rings, kind of just holding it all together. But I'll put a link in the comments below. This is not some affiliate BS. It just happens to be my solution. And if it's helpful for you, cool. If it's not, let's hear your solution. There you go. So the saddlebag with the notoriously thin paint is mounted up, and there's the bobbin installed. There's a rock strap, which is ROK if you're not familiar. These are the best ones of this kind of thing on the market. Just buy those. Anyway, bobbin's installed. The washer's in the middle. It's hard to see, but it's not pinching up against the plastic. It's a perfect fit. This has got a little bit of a recess in it, as you can see here. So this kind of stays, as long as you got some tension on it, it stays nice and firm. That would go over your teddy bear or whatever you're hauling along with you. And this is a natural spot to want to put it, but as I said before, this is tapered, so as it goes, it could just slip off. And obviously, not only just the angle and the taper and your body maybe pushing up against the bag, but aerodynamic forces, you know, just the air catching this thing, it would just come off. So, you know, crisscrossing across this side doesn't really work, and then, you know, tying off where the handlebar, or the grab handle is a little bit too far forward. That would put the bag like kind of up here instead of sitting back here. So might need to come up with some sort of solution that works here. Maybe drill and tap something. Just make my own barb at the end of this, perhaps. But anyway, that's where I'm at as far as carrying a little bit of extra luggage, and I think that's the solution that should work for me. Hey guys, so after pondering this thing a little bit, I had an idea. So first off, these KTM Power Parts toolkits are freaking great, and if you can find a hold of one at a deal these days, it's a freaking terrific thing. They've got all these inserts for the different size, you know, Torx fittings and screwdriver bits and all that kind of stuff, and it goes up to a 14 and down to a 4 with a couple of extensions, T-bar, universal, handle, ratchet. So highly recommend it. So I think I actually won this in a charity raffle thing. But they're really great, and they're compact, and they keep everything organized. Recommend that. I think what I'm going to do, my first thought was, I have these washer thingies that could conceivably replace the silver washer that's underneath this bolt. And they look like this on my DR 650. And as you can see, they just, you know, kind of snug underneath the bolt, and it gives you like a point where you can tie off. And I on my DR, I use them to hold the bike down into the bed of the truck. So how it could work here would be to go underneath that, and then that would give me a loop here, and then I could tie off the other side of the rock strap to that, go underneath the seat, and come back out. The challenge is the heads of these bolts live right here, inside here. So they actually insert into there, which means there's not a whole lot of clearance, and there's not a lot of lip here. So I suspect that they would just dig in, and not only that, but the tension would go around the corner of the seat and would probably end up buffing up the vinyl and, you know, looking crappy after a bit. So in not wanting to screw up the profile of this thing, I think the design is pretty sexy. You know, that's a very dude thing to say, but this design is pretty sleek here. And sticking a barb down underneath it, or something that's stuck down a centimeter or something like that, probably wouldn't look great. And so my other thought was, I think what I'm going to do is like drill a hole right somewhere in one of these surfaces. And this is a molded piece. I'm pretty sure it's the same color all the way through. So if I use a step bit, drill a hole through here, giving it enough room to have enough meat here, then I can tie the other end of the rock strap off of here. And then go over the seat, and then from the side you wouldn't really see it. And in a worst case scenario, if you find yourself out in the boonies, you can use one of those cheap bungee cords just to have a hook, so it's just a hole there. So anyway, I think that's the solution. So I'm going to pull it apart, take it to the shop, and see how that all works out. And if I'm a complete idiot and I break it or something stupid happens, then I just got to replace this one part. But there we go. That's what I'm going to try and tackle. By the way, if you're wondering what it looks like without the grab handle on there, it looks surprisingly incomplete. Alright, here's the final solution. I drilled holes here. There are a couple of knockout marks on the bottom of the bracket there that make a good reference for measuring. I put the hole right in the sort of the bend, this crease here, and drilled in just under a ½ inch, which is wide enough for the medium-sized rock straps to feed through there. And I set it up so that the straps, the elastic part, can just live underneath there if I want it to, and then I can grab the other end of the strap and you know, and click them in, and of course I'd loop those around the bobbins I'd put in earlier. So that's my solution, basically just to drill holes equidistant, and that will set things up. So I'll throw together a mock bag and throw a picture up here just so see how it all lays out, and there's that. If you're wondering what's underneath here, this is one of GTM's big honkin' wheel nuts. I don't know if they still have any left over, but if you're ever stuck on the side of the road, there's a fat chance somebody's gonna have that bad boy there. So that allows the wheel to come off if I ever get a flat out in the boonies. It's heavy as heck, but it'll last longer than the motorcycle will. There we go. That's it. Catch you later.